Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you, as always, keto without the crazy. Before I get into today's topic, just two quick things to tell you about. Let's see. Number one, I'm not doing a whole lot of ongoing long-term nutrition coaching right now, but I do have some availability for short-term kind of get you started or troubleshooting consultations for low carb or keto. So if you are new to keto and you're just starting out, or you would like to get started, I can help you with that. Or if you've been doing a ketogenic or low carb diet for a while and you need some help kind of getting to where you want to go or fine tuning it, check out the link below. It'll say work with me or services or book a consultation. There'll just be a link below. So there's that. And what is number two? Oh, second thing, I have decided to do a little experiment here. I'm going to make my videos ad-free for a while. And so if you value that, if you like the content that you find on my channel, if you like keto without the crazy, if you like somebody simplifying it and explaining how things work and helping you understand that you can do this without spending $1 million and without all kinds of gadgets and gizmos and overcomplication, if you value that, and if you have a couple of dollars that you could spare, consider supporting me on Patreon as a thank you for the content, or as a thank you for the fact that you don't have to scroll through ads anymore or skip ads. Patreon.com/2itnutrition. There'll be a link below. There's tiers for as little as $2 a month, you know, for the cost of buying me a cup of coffee, keep me caffeinated so I can make these videos. At higher levels, you get other benefits, including there's one level with a weekly phone call with me. A weekly call. Now, it is a group call. It's not an individual thing. But if you want a lot more of my time, where you can ask me questions and get troubleshooting help and have general discussion about keto, then do consider that. Patreon.com/2itnutrition. On to the topic. I did jot down just a couple of quick notes on this old piece of cardboard. Can we stop defining our diets? Can we please stop using single words or phrases to encompass our entire diet, everything we eat? And I've said before in several videos that there's a lot of very binary thinking in the keto world, and certainly not just the keto world, in the nutrition and health world at large. There's a lot of black and white, stunted sort of thinking. It's either all this or all that, 100% or zero. And we've got to get away from this. This has gotten us into a lot of trouble in the past, and it's getting us into trouble now, and I see it all the time. And I was prompted to make this video because I got to thinking about something that was happening a while back. I don't know how many of you paid attention or were aware, but several months ago, there was kind of a slew of very well-known vegan influencers or personalities, celebrities, whatever term we want to use, who were caught in public eating animal foods. You know, maybe they had been, you know, this was before COVID when people were like out in public eating, and somebody would have snapped a picture of them eating salmon or eating some other animal food. And all of a sudden, it was all over Instagram, it was all over Twitter, and that person's career was basically over. Now, I'll leave the commentary about the vegan approach specifically out of this. This has nothing to do with that. What it has to do is with assigning our whole identity based on what we eat. I'm keto, I'm carnivore, I'm vegan, I'm this, I'm that. There's new words popping up now. There's ketovore, which I don't even know what that, I guess that's, it's carnivore, but with a tiny bit of plant food, like some herbs and spices, or maybe some garnish, maybe some onions for flavor. You're basically carnivore, but not 100%. I just want to stop defining ourselves so narrowly. And there's a couple of reasons why. Let me consult my notes here. I guess I don't want us to put ourselves inside teeny tiny boxes, dietary boxes, to the point that we are so very terrified to step out of that box. And if we do, if we actually overcome the terror of stepping out and we do step out, we feel like we have to apologize for it or justify it. If your whole identity is, I'm I'm keto, I'm on the keto diet, and my life is keto, I'm the keto person. And then if you ever just happen to feel like having a donut or a cookie or a bagel, God forbid, and I'm not talking about a keto, I'm not talking about like an almond flour, donut, or a coconut flour bagel. If you just have a sugary or starchy thing, if you've built your entire career or your just entire personality off of keto, and you've, in public many, many times said that starch is poison and sugar is poison and carbs are poison, they're killing you, and then somebody sees you eat it, you feel ashamed, you feel embarrassed, you're humiliated. You do feel like you have to apologize for it and justify it to your followers. Like, well, I did it because of such and such. You're a grown adult. You shouldn't have to apologize or justify or explain your food choices. I have a friend, Casey Durango. She goes by Go Keto with Casey. And she has a phrase that I love. Nobody gets a vote on what you eat. Nobody gets a vote on what another autonomous adult puts in their mouth, And so that's one of the things, I see this in the carnivore camp a lot, and I'm not trying to single them out. I just happen to see it there a lot, where somebody who is on the carnivore diet, maybe, they'll post a picture of their meal on social media, and there's some mushrooms on the plate, or there's some broccoli, and they might say, sorry, I had some of the broccoli, or, oh, I had the mushrooms. Like, they have to justify what they decided to have for dinner. Why? Because they said they were carnivore. Now, it's not their issue, right? It's not their fault, or that they feel like they have to explain. My own sort of interpretation of the situation is that we feel like we have to justify it, not so much because we think we need to, like, well, let me tell you why I ate the thing. It's because we know that our followers have this very, very black and white thing, and people don't seem to understand that you can be on a ketogenic diet most of the time, and every once in a while you have some sugar. Every once in a while you have something very starchy. You can be on a carnivore diet most of the time, and every once in a while you have a salad, or you have some strawberries, or whatever it is. Now, of course, you won't, again, please get out of the binary black and white thinking. Whenever I say things like this, I'm not talking to the very, limited number of individuals who they're doing keto because if they do have a lick of sugar, they will have a seizure, or they will have a migraine, or some other really severe consequence will happen. Or for the people in the carnivore community, some of them apparently really do have very, very severe reactions to certain things in certain plants. So for that, I'm not saying like it's okay to be carnivore 98% of the time, and then sometimes you have lettuce. If that person's going to be in the bathroom for 6 hours after having lettuce, don't have lettuce. I'm saying for people that are doing this for general health, for overall well-being, maybe for weight loss, for other kinds of issues, I wish that our followers knew that it's okay to not be 100% any one way all the time, every second. Like, I very much define, I've always said I'm low carb. I'm not always super strict keto. I happen to be in ketosis most of the time just because of what I eat, and most especially what I don't eat, but I don't deliberately aim to be there. I don't count carbs. I don't weigh and measure my food. I don't do any of that. And I've always said, those of you who are, Two at Nutrition YouTube channel veterans, you've heard me say this many times, every once in a while, I do have bread. And I'm not talking about the low carb keto breads. Every now and then I do have regular ice cream, regular stuff. And it's because I'm always low carb. It's not always keto. And that way, if I ever am in public having something and somebody takes a picture of me and posts it, guess what? You all know I'm not like under 20 grams of total carbs a day every day, because I told you I don't do that all the time. So I we just box ourselves in, and I think part of it is we, meaning we, the influencers or whatever. I hate that word, but the people that other people look to for information and advice and education, some of us think we have to justify it even to ourselves, but I just think we also know we have to explain to our father, like, no, I'm still on a low carb diet. I'm still keto. I'm still carnivore. It was just this one day I decided to have half a cucumber. I'm still eating mostly animals. Like, it's all right. You don't have to hate me, you know. So I also want I want people to have a little more humility where all this is concerned, because we have had, people in all different dietary camps, be it keto, be it carnivore, be it vegan, be it whatever. That back in the day with paleo, remember when paleo was a thing? Like, oh, beans will kill you, like gluten will kill you, dairy will kill you, like we've had this kind of rhetoric. And there's a lot of people who had very, very severe health problems on a higher carb diet, who went keto or went low carb or went carnivore, and now they feel great. So they think they've found the holy grail. And I do see this more in the carnivore camp, but I'm not trying to badmouth the carnivores. Like, I support people doing whatever works best. I just happen to see it more extreme there than in some of the other dietary approaches. And part of it is because of what I'm about to say. Not everyone who's currently doing a carnivore diet started out as a vegan. I mean, certainly not. People are drawn to it for all kinds of reasons. But there do happen to be a lot of former vegans who are now on a carnivore diet. And part of it is because they developed such severe health issues, either physical or mental and emotional, all kinds of stuff, on a vegan diet. And they've like a 180. Instead of all plants and only plants, now they're doing all animals and only animals. And of course they feel a lot better because they're getting a lot of nutrients and certain things they weren't getting when they were excluding all animal foods. And we see this in keto too. So again, I'm not trying to single out the carnivores. We see it in keto too. Like, I feel so much better on keto, therefore grain is poison. Therefore bread will kill you. Therefore fruit is poison. When we know this to be abjectly false. Like, we know this to be completely untrue because we can look all around the world at healthy, robust, long-lived people who consume these things. They eat bread, they eat fruit, they eat beans, they eat pasta, they eat rice, And so, where was I? I'm losing my train of thought now. When we get into these camps where, again, this binary thinking, we completely demonize something and we stand up on our soapboxes and we become so vocal about it and so passionate and vitriolic, really, like with the anger aspect of it too, the closed-minded anger. I'm right, you're wrong, this is it, there's no compromise. There's a problem there. And we're starting to see the problem. And because there are people who do a very, very strict ketogenic diet and thrive and they do great, but then maybe a couple of years later, they get to a point where, like, it might be nice to have some beans every now and then. It might be nice to have a little bit of fruit now and then. And they reintroduce those things slowly, gradually, in a very systematic way. And they find that they do just fine. They can eat those things, not in unlimited quantity, but they can reintroduce reasonable quantities and not regain all the weight they lost, not trigger recurrence of whatever health issues they may have put into remission. So maybe it wasn't the best thing for that person 2 or 3 years in the past to have said fruit is poison and carbs kill, because now they're eating fruit and now they're eating carbs and now they're eating. And so would they have looked back on themselves and said, wow, I was really kind of a little bit too close-minded back then when I completely shut the door on this other stuff that is now a regular part of my diet. And it is most definitely a sign of intellectual evolution, for lack of a better phrase, when somebody can admit, I was wrong. I was very adamant in a certain position a while back, and now I've had an experience that's made me change my mind. I have new information, either from my own personal experience or from the experience of others around me, that I've had to change my opinion and my interpretation based on new data, based on new facts. So I do think that's a hallmark of someone that is credible and has integrity, when they're willing to change their mind when information presents itself that, makes them think they should change their mind. But you wouldn't have to be in a position to change your mind if you weren't so adamant in the first place. Not that there's anything wrong with changing your mind or having a strong opinion, but maybe let's just tone down the rhetoric a little bit and leave open the possibility that we don't know everything. We don't know everything all the time, because I've seen there's some prominent people in the carnivore world. And again, this sounds like a carnivore bashing video, and I don't mean it to be. Please know that in my private practice, I have actually suggested the carnivore diet to more than one client where I think it can be very helpful. Like I'm not trying to badmouth it as an approach, like as a healing type of approach. It's just certain things that I hear, but I hear equally radical, crazy stuff from the keto camp too. So like it's an equal opportunity craziness out there. But anyway, where was I? When sugar is toxic and sugar is poison, and animals, you can get everything you need from animals, and animals are optimal, and it's da da da. And now they're eating honey. They're eating like lots of like basically pure sugar. Okay, if that works for you, great. And you like the way you feel, great. But maybe it would have been great if you had like demonized that so badly in the first place. Like if you had not, I'm going to stop there because I don't want to single out any one individual, but for those of us that do feel real, and you see how disjointed it is, even when I do have notes. I understand why people get so passionate, right? Especially when you've had a really remarkable transformation. If you were very, very sick, very, very severely compromised in health, and now you are completely in a different state. You're thriving. You love the way you feel. Everything is great. Why wouldn't you shout it from the rooftops? Why wouldn't you be emphatic? Why wouldn't you be passionate? Why wouldn't you, for lack of a better word, evangelize? Why wouldn't you be like a religious zealot about it? So I get it. But looking at the extremes again, somebody in a vegan camp thinks this is it, this is the way, it's the only way. And then when they fall apart and they go carnivore, this is it, this is the only way, this is the right way, this is the true way. Well, is it? Is it? Because that's exactly what you said about veganism 8 years ago. You thought that was the only way and the one way and the true way and the optimal way, and it failed you. And so what about carnivore now, or keto now, or whatever way, paleo, whatever way you're eating now? Is it really the true optimal way, or might can you learn from your past experience and say, you know what, I thought I knew everything back then. I thought I had it all down and all right. And I got smacked upside the head with how wrong I was. Maybe I should leave the door open to the possibility that I'm wrong here too. Even though I feel great, I feel amazing, it's hard to believe that this isn't the one true and only way. But I learned the hard way last time. Maybe this time I'll just just be a little bit more measured in my rhetoric. I'll be a little more tame in how I say this. So that's the 20.5-minute version way of me saying, instead of just being so emphatic about it, why don't we just approach it more like, right now, I feel amazing. I feel so good. I'm not eating any plants. I'm only eating animals, or I'm eating very, very low carb. I'm eating like no more than 20 or 30 total grams of carbs a day on my super awesome keto diet. And I feel great. My migraines are gone. My gout's gone. My skin is clear. My nails are growing. I have energy. I love it. Right now, this is working great for me. Is it going to work equally great 6 months from now? I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be working equally well a year or 5 years from now? I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. So can I say that this is the only thing I'll ever do, and that this is what you and you and you and every single other human on the planet should do? I don't know. Probably not appropriate for me to say that. What I can say is, for me right now, at this point in time, it's working really well. Do you see the difference in those kind of approaches? Like the, right now, for me, this seems to be working really well, and I'll keep up with this until I get to a point where maybe it's not working so well, if I get to a point where it's not working so well. Rather than jumping in and this is it, this is all I'm ever going to do, everyone else is wrong, I'm unsubscribing to every other single channel that says anything different, and that's it. Everyone else is a moron. Everyone that does anything different from this is just worthless. I'm just tired of the binary black and white anger that I see in the keto world and the nutrition world in general. Let me see if I missed anything. That's about it. I just want to reiterate, because this is the part that makes me the saddest, I think, is, again, if you have put a label on your diet, I'm keto, I'm paleo, I'm carnivore, I'm this, I'm that, pescatarian, what have you, and then you get caught, quote, quote, eating something that isn't, under that label, doesn't fit that description, you shouldn't have to apologize for it. You shouldn't have to explain it. You shouldn't have to justify it. Other people may disagree with me. I think you can still be on the carnivore diet if, like, once a month you eat some spinach. I think you can be keto if every couple of weeks you have some rice. And I don't mean rice cauliflower, I mean rice. But the keto is actually a separate issue, because keto is your body, it's not the food. Your body is what's ketogenic. Food is not ketogenic, where you could say, objectively, a food is from the animal kingdom or it's not, So anyway, that is neither here nor there. Just eat. Just eat. You don't have to put a label on your diet. I know why we do it. We do it because we're humans, and we like to classify things in boxes, and we like to look for patterns. And especially with regard to diet, it does give us common ground. And I think that's actually human nature. I think that's very natural to the way we're wired. We're a tribal species. We're wired to be in small groups of people that look like us and talk like us and think like us and act like us. For better or worse. That is how humans sort of grew up. We're in different times now in the modern world, but it does give common ground. If you're in a room full of 1,000 strangers and you come across someone, oh, I'm on the keto diet. Oh, you're on the keto, me too. You automatically have something in common. You don't know anything else about that person, but all of a sudden you can have a conversation, or carnivore diet, or vegetarian, whatever. So I get it. I get it, but maybe let's just keep in mind that you can define your diet, but that label doesn't have to it doesn't have to define your every waking moment and every single molecule of food that you ever eat. And that's enough for me. Like I said, if you're interested in a consultation, check out the link below. Or if you want to see what I have going on Patreon, patreon.com/2itnutrition. See you next time.